ready to make your moon pastes. Moon pastes? The heck are moon pastes? It's mooncake season! We made the salted egg yolks. Shrimpy made our filling, and now it's the time you've all been waiting for. It's time to make our mooncakes. We are using a recipe from Omnivore's cookbook, which I've used several times with good results. We are going to start with a bit of golden syrup. I'm using store-bought, which you can find online reasonably easy. But if you can't get that, it's also possible to make your own golden syrup at home. You just need a bit of time. I will leave a recipe for homemade golden syrup and also a link to buy golden syrup online in the description. Next, add in your kansui. This is lye water. If you happen to make ramen at home, then you may already have some on hand. However, it's also fairly easy to make at home. All you have to do is bake some baking soda to make it more alkaline, and then dilute it with a bit of water. I use the homemade version, and I will leave links to both store-bought kansui and the homemade recipe in the description below. Mix your golden syrup and your kansui together well until it is emulsified. Next, we will add in a bit of oil. Peanut or a mildly flavored vegetable oil will work well for this. It won't blend completely, but try to mix the oil with your golden syrup mixture together as well as possible. And then your flour. I'm using cake flour here. It makes your dough really tender, but you can also use all-purpose flour for this as well. And just a little bit of salt. Gently fold that together until it is thoroughly combined. Knead it a few times with your hands and then cover it with plastic wrap. Let that sit for an hour, kneading it again halfway through. Next step, filling your mooncakes. If you need some ideas for some more traditional fillings, you can check out the video that Shrimpy made where he showed how to make mung bean paste, red bean paste, and lotus seed paste. If those aren't as accessible to you, you can pretty much use any sort of filling that will be solid enough at room temperature to roll into balls and is already cooked, since the cooking time of mooncakes isn't very long. Bean pastes, lotus seed pastes, black sesame, even nut fillings are very common, but I even tried out making mooncakes with pumpkin pie filling, and it actually worked out pretty well. Depending on the fillings you're using, you may want to take them out early and give them a good bit of time to come to room temperature. For me, the mung bean paste needed a lot of time. It really needed to warm up. But the red bean and the lotus seed didn't need nearly so much time. They were a little better straight from the fridge. When you are ready to make your mooncakes, make balls with your fillings. If you want, you can take a salted egg yolk and carefully shape your filling around the egg yolk. But do note that you will probably need to use a larger mold for this. We'll talk about molds in a minute. For smaller 50-gram molds, aim for balls about the size of a quarter. Whereas for larger 100-gram molds, look for balls closer to golf ball size. If any of your fillings are too soft, you can form the balls and then stick them back in the fridge to harden up before you wrap them in the dough. This isn't as traditional, but you can have a little fun with it. We decided to experiment with cheba mao mooncakes. Cheba mao is a Vietnamese 3-color dessert, and it's made with azuki beans, mung beans, and pandan jelly. We already had 2 of the 3 flavors, and to make the pandan layer, we just took some mung bean paste and mixed in pandan flavoring until we got the color and flavor that we were happy with. Then we took a tiny ball of each flavor and then layered them before wrapping, which is our next step. In order to wrap your mooncakes, start with a small piece of dough. Roll it into a ball. Depending on how big of a mooncake you're going for, you'll look for about a quarter-sized ball for the small mooncakes and more of a silver dollar sized for the big ones. Then roll it out. You can use a rolling pin if you'd like, And I'll leave a link to the original recipe where it shows you exactly how to do this. But I found that just pressing it with my fingers into a big sheet to wrap it around the balls worked perfectly fine. Once your piece of dough is nice and thin, wrap it around your ball of filling. Make sure your filling is completely enclosed and then roll it into a smooth ball. And now it's time to press. I have the kind of presses where you fit the ball into the mold and then press down with the handle to imprint the shape on the mooncake. The ones that I have came with 2 shapes and 2 sizes and 3 different patterns for each mold. So I ended up with 12 different mooncake designs. I will leave a link to the ones that I have in the description. There also exist wooden molds where you just press the mooncake into the mold with your hands. Either way, if you have trouble with the mooncake dough sticking to your mold, you can lightly dust your mooncake ball with a little bit of extra flour before you put it into the mold. I didn't have any trouble with my plastic molds, so I didn't do this, but I imagine that wooden molds would stick more. But what if you don't have mooncake molds and you don't want to buy any? If you really want to form your mooncakes into shapes, you could use muffin tins, or cookie cutters would probably work all right to kind of press them into shape. However, we actually tried this, and just cooking the ball that you formed works perfectly fine, and it's super easy. It's way easier than any of these other options. So you can absolutely go with that and make your own mooncakes even without the molds. If you are making a bunch of mooncakes with different fillings, you may want to mark your mooncakes so you know which are which. What I like to do is take some food coloring and just dot a chopstick in the end of it and add little dots onto my mooncakes. So different colors will be different fillings. It's an easy way for me to tell the difference. Now it is time to bake. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Place all of your mooncakes on parchment paper lined baking sheets, making sure that there's about an inch in between each mooncake. Bake for 8 minutes. While the first bake is happening, whisk an egg with a pinch of salt. After 8 minutes, take your mooncakes out, brush the top of each mooncake with a little bit of that egg wash, and then put the mooncakes back in the oven for another 8 minutes. Once they are done baking, let your mooncakes cool completely, and then store them at room temperature in an airtight container. Technically, you could eat your mooncakes right away, but you should let your mooncakes sit for at least 24 hours before eating them. If you can hold off, they're even better after 3 days. The oils from the filling will seep into the wrapper, and they will go from crumbly to soft and luxurious. And now, it's time to eat. We had to take a little break so Sun could make jasmine tea for our mooncakes. We've got tea.
Every single time we got jasmine tea.
We do have jasmine tea, and we've got our mooncakes for sampling.
Yes.
So last time you saw us do the tasting time for the egg yolks, the salted egg yolks, they all had the same filling, but it was different egg yolks. This time, none of these have egg yolks in them, but we've got all of our different fillings. So from my left to right, we've got mung bean, lotus seed, red bean, the cheba mao, those are the 3 colored, the ones with the pandan, and then we've also got the pumpkin pie ones that I made. Yes. Which were kind of a surprise because I had left over the wrapper dough. I had made too much, and I had some left over because I had overestimated how much filling I had left. And so I just grabbed a can of pumpkin and was like, we thought of this idea, but I didn't think I was going to make it this year. And I just made some pumpkin pie filling.
You made enough mooncakes for pretty much the entire city of Los Angeles.
Not that many. I only made 115. That's all. Are you ready to taste?
Yes, let's do it.
Are you ready though? You didn't even say tasting time.
Oh, it's mooning time.
It's not mooning time. Please. I beg of you. I beg of you.
Let's get to the mooning time.
Start with the mung bean.
Mung bean.
Are you ready?
Been ready. The last time we had it was what, 1 day or 2 days after it's cooked. Totally different. A week later, or less than a week later.
You don't think it'll make that much of a difference, but from immediately after it's cooked to 1 day, there's a big difference in the softness. But then from 1 day till 3+ goes from, okay, they're good, to, oh my God, they're amazing.
Yeah, every year that you made this,
this is the second year I've made them.
That it gets better with age. You know, every time you make it, I eat it like the day after. And I'm like, nah, it's okay. I don't remember them being this good.
I thought they were better.
Yeah, I thought they were better. And then a week later, eat them. Oh, I remember now. I remember why they're so good.
He was eating one of the ones with the salted egg yolks yesterday.
So
and just every bite, he'd be like, oh my God.
It just melts.
Oh my God, they're so good.
Like you said, it soaks in, it becomes so decadent and rich, and it's really soft, so it just melts in your mouth.
The wrapper starts out very crumbly if you eat it right after you bake it, but then a few days later, it's just so
good,
soft, and it's so good.
And if you try this at home, remember to get some jasmine tea. We got these at floatingleaves.com. Not sponsored.
It's not sponsored, but we just really love their tea.
Yeah.
It's a tea shop in Seattle.
Yeah.
That we got to go to last year when we were visiting Seattle. A friend recommended that we try out this place. And so we bought some of their tea, and we've been ordering it online ever since.
Yeah,
and
so
this
good.
was our first time ordering some jasmine tea from them.
Yeah.
Because we like jasmine, but we weren't really sure where to get it. So we tried some of theirs, and
so good. I'm gonna buy the next time they have it for sale, I'm gonna buy 5 bags.
Buying all the jasmine.
And buy 5 pounds.
So good. Cake number 2. Lotus seed is consistently my favorite moon cake. Anywhere we get them, I love lotus seed. The mung beans are a little more bland than lotus seed.
Yeah.
Lotus seed has just this very, very faint floral touch.
Yeah.
And it's maybe a little bit sweeter from the lotus seeds. And it's always very smooth. Very, very smooth. It blends up really well. And just consistently my favorite. I love it so much.
It goes perfect with the jasmine too.
This is going to turn into a review of Floating Leaves Jasmine.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to say that jasmine tends to be very strong.
Yeah.
But this is a very light.
We should get sponsored by them.
I know. Floating Leaves, call me.
We can make recipes. Make mooncakes.
We will make so many tea things.
Jasmine mooncakes.
So many tea things.
Let's go for a third one, Alison.
This is the azuki bean.
Yes.
So this one is the one that I always think that I'm going to like more because it reminds me of Japanese flavors. I mean, azuki bean is very common in Japanese cooking.
That one's also really good. Really good, Alison.
Oh, cool.
It's real good.
The one problem that I have when I make red bean for this, and maybe it's just that I never use the right recipe, but it always ends up a little too chunky. So I don't know if it's just that I don't cook it long enough or something, but it always seems soft enough. Like it's soft to the touch when I go to blend it. But it always ends up a little bit chunky. It's not as smooth as the mung bean or the lotus seeds. And it's also a little dry. Did you notice that? It's a bit drier than the other one. So almost, I wouldn't say it's quite chalky. Like it's not that dry, but definitely drier than the other two. Another thing though that I was gonna mention, I see that, is the type of fat being used for the mooncakes. We used coconut oil. Traditionally, lard is used, but you could also use like butter or shortening, pretty much anything that's going to be solid at room temperature. And I think this has also changed as these have sat.
Yeah.
But I remember when we ate them like the day after, they were very coconutty.
Yes.
Which is not bad. Like we really liked it because it's very tropical and it adds more flavor. We really enjoyed the coconut tea-ness.
You don't taste it much?
I don't taste it. Right now.
I still taste it.
Right
I think
now
it
when we're eating
on...
it, I don't taste it as much. Not nearly as much as I did.
That might be true, or it might be because of the paste. Because each paste flavors differently. Is that even English? Is that even English? Did I English right? But you know what I mean? Like I think because the mung bean, you can taste a little bit more of the coconut. But then the azuki bean, the red bean,
and
you can't.
when we get to the chebamao one, I think it will seem like it's more coconutty because of the pandan.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of which,
Let's move on
that's the
to mooncake number 4. This is the 3 color. We've got the red bean and the mung bean and the pandan. So we've got our 3 layers. This is my
special
creation. I wanted to do some creative mooncakes this year, and this was just a random idea that I had, and I was like, we'll try it, we'll see. I don't know. Somebody's really happy over here.
I really do like this. I'm Vietnamese, and Gia Ba Mao is a Vietnamese thing.
You said it right.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I said it that correct. You know, it's like you mix
Just
the
go
English.
with it. Just go with it. I really like the pandan in it. It's more flavorful than the other mooncakes. And it just makes it really interesting.
Yeah, because of the other one that we have, each of them has their own sort of flavor note. But this one is just like, it's like a party in your mouth. Last but not least,
we got
have pumpkin pie.
the pumpkin pie version. And this was another creative mooncake idea that I had. I wasn't expecting to do it this year. We had leftover dough for the wrappers. So I figured I've got some pumpkin in the pantry. Can of pumpkin. It's easy enough to do. So let's make it happen.
We're going to get hate mail because of this also.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
It's delicious.
You know what? I don't know if you mentioned it in the prep, but this is another of Allison's creation for people who don't have molds.
The moonballs.
Moonballs. We call them moonballs. It's copyright pending.
Trademark
pending.
Patent pending, I think is what you're going for. I really like these.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed these because I was not sure if pumpkin pie filling was going to work. So it's pretty much just pumpkin and butter. So it still has the fat in it, but I used butter instead of coconut, and pumpkin pie spices. And that's it. And I just cooked it down pretty much the exact same way I did for the bean pastes, or Shrimpy did for the bean paste.
Yeah, please.
I'm sorry. And then we wrapped it and made some moonballs.
This would be perfect for upcoming fall season. You make these for Thanksgiving.
You could.
Yeah.
I think my family would actually really
They
enjoy this.
would like this. This is
I think my
delicious.
family would be really into this.
It's like a
hand pie. Yeah.
Pumpkin hand.
Well, and also the Mid-Autumn Moon Festival, the date changes every year. Normally it's in September, but this year it's October 1st. So October is a very pumpkin-y month.
This is so good.
I really enjoy this one.
Yeah.
I am really happy with how it turned out.
So decadent. So soft.
And the spices really came through. And it's just very pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
Very pumpkin pie.
So good.
As I always say, a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters. And if you would like your name on this lovely list that we've got right over here, you can go to patreon.com/sushiday. If you are not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit that sub button and like this video, because every little like does make us really happy. It really does. And if you would like to see the other 2 videos that we have of making the salted egg yolks and the fillings for our mooncakes, you can check them out right over here. We'll see you next time. Moonballs.